I belong to a church called the Worldwide Church of God. On mornings when we would have worship, afterwards, there would be a group of black people on this side of the church and a group of white people on this side of the church, Asian people on this side of the church. I thought, you know, this is the church, we're all Christians and it shouldn't be this way. So I was really disturbed by seeing the separation within the church. I began searching for some organization that would address this concern.
I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. One of my interests has been changing attitudes, specifically how to change people's attitudes in the area of racism. Over the years, I have acquainted myself with every major model for this kind of training available. And so when I saw the flyer advertising Healing Racism, I thought of it as just another one I need to check out.
My thought was, why do I need to go? I mean, been there, done that, lived this all my life.
My husband's Japanese, and he would come home and tell me things, you know, about what was going on in his life. And I would just write him off. I'd tell him, you know, get a life, what's wrong with you? Stop complaining. And it was really affecting our marriage. For years, I blamed him and never understood the racial conditioning of my family. I didn't have a clue about what racism meant, how it affected me personally, how it was affecting my family, and how it was affecting every aspect of society until I went through the Healing Racism program.
What kinds of things do you talk about that you agree with each other?
Like no bath and stuff, yeah.
So what's different about you guys?
That my birthday's before him.
Is there anything different about the way you look?
No.
Nothing? You're both two guys?
Well, maybe Carson's a little stronger and stuff.
Stronger?
Yeah.
Like he has more muscles?
Yeah. Come on.
You guys have different color skin.
Yeah.
Does that matter?
No.
Why not?
Because we're still friends.
Much of what these friends have learned about race comes from their parents.
Do you know what the word racism means?
No. I think I know what racism is. It's a very bad sickness. Racism. It's a very bad sickness.
When I called them and found out about their program, I realized that it was exactly what I was looking for.
What I found was a feeling of coming home, like this is what I had been looking for in investigating all of these other models. This was finally a model that appropriately to my understanding of how people live and work and change and grow. This was a model that allowed for all of that to happen.
Somehow it enters you. You become aware of how people are affected. It has done such tremendous things that nobody ever wants to let it go. Everyone wants it to continue because you are getting in depth feelings, thoughts, and you're expressing your own. And I can only say it makes you grow and grow.
It's so empowering and it's so enriching and it's so life-giving that, you know, it just, you can't stop. So the minute I started Healing Racism HON, I mean, that was it.
It's a matter of listening.
You had to listen.
We really, really listen.
And not say anything, not think of what you're going to say, but just simply listen.
Don't just talk at each other, but we have to be quiet and listen.
Listen, listen, and listen.
And we begin to experience a different situation.
I know the first one impressed me very much because it was not a shame and blame group.
After Healing Racism 3, some of us got together. We have a support group, and we've been meeting for several years now, once a month. There's just been a real lot of bonding and sharing.
It's given white people an opportunity to get away from their patterns of justifying racism and race behavior, and even like unconscious racism, and instead it gets them to really talk about it productively and gets them to look at solving it in a supportive atmosphere that is not like coddling them, but at the same time is not judgmental.
After about 30 years of working on racism issues, I find that the Healing Racism course is the most effective. It actually causes a change in the hearts and minds of the participants.
It's really helped me become more aware of how the human race is one family.
I've also been able to respect people from other groups a lot more because I heard their stories, and their stories touched me. I heard the pain that was involved in the stories, and it touched my heart and lent a sense of compassion for them, especially since I knew that these people were working on the racism that exists in their life. Made me feel like we could move on as allies. People from my ethnic background as well as from other ethnic backgrounds, and those who we have come to call identified whites or the more privileged class, who have pieces that they need to work on.
Even the good-willed folks really don't know. I began to really tune in a lot more to what I simply was indifferent to.
I saw that I had put this veil up that I didn't even realize was there, and it was keeping me separate. I really wasn't connecting with people of color. This has removed the veil, and not only can I connect with people of color, I have this much greater sense of who I am, and this realization that there is diversity in unity.
People look at me and they say, golly, Betty, I've felt myself having grown more in the last 2 years, emotionally and intellectually. It's hard to explain. It's freedom. Freedom to be the person, the real person that I've probably always been.
I find it liberating. It allows me to cross social barriers and makes me feel at home with my fellow human beings.
It's been a struggle, you know, but it's been extraordinary, actually. I'll just use the cliche. It changed my life. You know, my life hasn't been the same since. One of the primary principles we talk about is the oneness of humanity, and I initially didn't feel a sense of oneness with humanity at all. And now I do. I feel very much a oneness. I feel a lot of connection with people of other ethnic groups.
I kept coming back not only because I was doing my research, but because personally I felt my heart opening and growing in a way that was really important for me.
Now, you would never think that any of this would come out of attending a workshop called Healing Racism, but I feel more joyous about my life in general. I feel like I'm a happier person. My life is going really well, actually. I was empowered. And this is, see, a lot of people get involved in healing racism because, you know, it's the politically correct thing to do, and you want to do this because it's the right thing to do. Racism is wrong, and you want to take some personal action.
We look out at our society with its great wealth and see the inequalities and don't kind of get it till you have the emotional support to see why there are such divisions in our society and how we need to proceed to change that situation.
And in the process, you find that it's very beneficial for you. The healing is so deep.
I would recommend anyone who has the opportunity to not only for their good conscience to, excuse me, check out this Healing Racism training, but for their sheer delight as a growing and changing human being to avail themselves of this wonderful opportunity.
It should be offered in grammar school. Everybody needs this information because it's the lack of information that is keeping people where they are. I mean, I think Jesus was right on when he says, you'll know the truth and the truth will set you free. I've learned a lot of truths about our society, about, you know, people in society, about myself, and it's been extremely liberating. That's it.